Hello everybody, thank you for clicking on this video. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another banger here on the iTito channel. Welcome to my very first full screen video. Played around with settings for a while, finally got it full screen and at the higher resolution, so very cool. But what we are talking about today is something that I think would be useful, a video I wish I would have found at one point in time. And that is 10 ways to make your shift not suck. Your shift at work, of course, we're talking about. Now, these methods won't work for everybody. There's no universal way to make the shift not suck. Some people just really like to have shit suck. That's just how some people prefer. But I have found 10 ways that if you do, it will make your shift suck less. And of course, this doesn't work for every job. There's a lot of jobs out there that this probably wouldn't work for, but for a lower tier job such as mine, my current job is pushing carts and bagging groceries at a grocery store. This is 10 ways that I found to make my shifts actually pretty enjoyable. So without further ado, let's jump right in. If you find this video, helpful, maybe hit the like, subscribe. I'm going to do lots of other how-to videos just for fun. But yeah, 10 ways how to make your shift not suck. Number 1. And this really is the most important one. That's why it's number 1. Number 1, don't think about it. You can't think about it. It's real easy to fall down the rabbit hole of thought of, because you start with, I just got to go to work. But then you think, I got to be there for 8 hours. That's like a whole bunch of time. And then you're like, I got to go 5 days this week. Out of the 7, that's like most of the time. And then you're like, I got to do this every day for the next ever. You can't think that way. You can't. You got to just let it go. That's number 1. Focus on getting to work. Focus on waking up, enjoying your day, what time you have to get to work, getting to work on time, and that's it. That's all you think about before work. You can't get in your head about it. You can't think about how long you got to do it, because all that does, you don't look down the sidewalk and be like, I got to walk all that way, just one step in front of the other. So that's number 1. Don't think about it. Very important. That's the most important one. Number 2, and this is something I found personally, is to prepare the night before. So there's a few things, but there's very few things that irritate me, like waking up for work, and then I realize that the clothes I need to wear are dirty. I didn't prepare water. I'm not ready at all. The very few things irritate me like that. Because you're already trying to build up, the good energy to go to work, and then you realize that you didn't do any of your stuff, and now you have to fit it all into your morning, even though you want to spend the morning just chilling, getting ready. You gotta prepare the night before. That's something I found. So make sure the clothes that you gotta wear to work are clean. Make sure you have a water cooling in the fridge or whatever works for you. I like to make sure I have an energy drink and a water cold before I even go to bed. I try to not leave my place too dirty, but I do enjoy cleaning in the morning just a little bit. But just like if you gotta shave, try to do that the night before, so your shower in the morning can just be real chill. Or worst case, if you wake up late, no shower at all, and it's fine. So that's number 2. Prepare in the morning. Very important. Number 3. So headphones. Headphones is number 3. Headphones and music. And honestly, number 3 and 4 kind of blend. They're similar concepts, but for number 3, headphones. You got to make sure your headphones are charged. You got to make sure they work, and you got to make sure they're comfortable. I personally use AirPods just because it's the only set of headphones I have, and it works great. I make sure I plug them in every night before work, or if I do forget, I plug them in when I wake up. Make sure they have at least enough battery to get you through, 80% of your shift, but really the whole shift is preferred. Make sure they're connected to your phone. Make sure they work. I've gotten to work so many times and they're dead, and it sucks. So headphones and music, that's number 3. And that kind of blends in to number 4, and that is to find comfort content. So this might not work for everybody, especially those of the older variety. But for people in my age range, I'm 21, so I don't know, 15 to 24, I think that's my age range, generally. Going to work is hard, especially when you have a lower tier job like the one I have. It sucks. You don't want to, like, I don't even have to really engage my brain that much at work. I just have to show up and push the carts. You know what I'm saying? So I have found comfort content that I listen to in my headphone, and it allows me, like the part of my brain that likes to engage and listen and be aware of what I'm doing, that part of my brain gets taken up by what I'm listening to. For me, I personally found Penguin Zero, or Charlie, Moist Critical, is extremely good comfort content for work, because like 90% of his videos you don't need to be watching. You can just listen. His voice, while monotone, I find very soothing. He's got good jokes, and his content is interesting, so it keeps your brain from spiraling. I also really enjoy Goblin. I've been working on a video, but Goblin is the best. He's the best creator on YouTube. He's got the Gobcast, fantastic, you know. So I also like Eric Kahn. You know, everybody has different taste in content, but find something that can preoccupy that part of your brain. I mean, if you have Netflix or Hulu, you know, something, I'm too broke for that right now. But for a while, I just did a show on Netflix at one of my old jobs, you know, a year ago or something. But yeah, find comfort content. That's the one that, for me personally, helps the most. Number 4, find comfort content. Number 5, and this kind of ties into number 1 that I was talking about a little bit, but that is one task at a time. One task at a time. You can't think about, oh, I got to be here for 8 hours. Oh, I got to do this, and this. I got all this work piling up. I got to do it. Nah. One at a time. And that's generally good advice for life, but specifically at work. Like if I start thinking about the fact that I got to push carts for the next 8 hours, I start to get a little upset, you know? But if I just focus on, oh, I just got to push this stack of carts, it's a lot simpler. You just do one task at a time. Stay focused on the one task you're doing, one task at a time. That's number 5, one task at a time. Little hydration moment halfway through the video here. Cheers. Make sure you're staying hydrated. That's not on the list, but it should be, because when you have dehydration cramps, you get irritated, you get headaches, your body hurts, makes it hard to do work. So make sure you're staying hydrated. Little hydration moment. Cheers. I drink so much water at work, but I come home so thirsty because I sweat all day long. I grew up in Colorado, and doing outside work in Texas is hot. Okay, so, and that brings us to number 6. Now, number 6 is something I struggled with for a long time, but I'm finally getting it under my belt. And that is to have something outside of work. What I mean by that is just something. Anything. And I don't mean like, you know, something boring. You know, like when people say, get a hobby, like most people are like, oh, what am I going to do? Paint boats? No, do something you like. Maybe you like painting boats. I don't know. Yeah, this seems kind of cool. Not hating on painting boats. But yeah, have something outside of work. It's far more useful if it's something you're passionate about and something that you believe will make your life better. For me, it's making content. That, and I really enjoy VR. I enjoy journaling. Just a couple things that, you know, when you have those hard times at work, those hard days at work, where you just want to be like, man, forget about it. You gotta have something to keep you going. You gotta have something outside of work that is more important to you than work, because then you're just working to support doing the thing that you love, and that's really important. It took me years to find something I cared about, but we got the channel here. And so that brings us to number 7. Be actively looking for a better job. And this is one of the ones that doesn't apply to everyone, because some people really like their job. Some people are super happy and content with the job they have. Yeah, this doesn't work for everybody. Some people are really happy and content with the job they have, and that's beautiful. If you have found a job that you are looking forward to going into every day, that's a win. That's the goal. But for a lot of people, me included, that's not the case. And so you have to be actively looking for a better job, or else you'll get caught up in the, oh, well, this is just what I have to do forever. No, you got to be putting out resumes. You got to be looking at what skills and what qualifications you need to get the kind of job you want, and then spend a portion of your free time pursuing those skills and learning, building a good resume. when you don't have a job and you're trying to get a job, it's a rush. It's like, I need a job, I need money. But when you have a job, when you have steady employment, when you have money coming in, you can take more time to really curate your resume and figure out exactly what it is you want to do and teach yourself some skills to be able to do that. So that's number 7, be actively looking for another job. And that brings us to number 8. Now, number 8 is the one on this list I personally am the worst about, and that is to eat/fuel before your shift. It's also helpful to have something during. For me, I don't like to eat before my shift because I get tired when I eat. But I like to do an energy drink. I do a smoothie before work because, I get the caffeine from the energy drink. I do the smoothie. That's some good, nutrients, some sugars, whatever, some fruits. And it helps, you got to have fuel in your body. There's been most days I've ever gone to work, I didn't eat anything before, during, I waited till after. And while that can work for me because of the large amount of stimulants I consume, nicotine, caffeine, but that doesn't work for everybody. And so when you go to work with low blood sugar, you get even more irritated than you already normally would. So it's really important to fuel yourself. Your body needs fuel, and your mind works with the body. So that's number 8, fuel yourself. We're almost at the end here. So number 9 is build a routine. Me personally, I really had a problem with structure. Because what structure had meant to me up until very recently is that structure, you go to school, you got to wake up and go to school, and you go to school, and then you got to come home and do your homework. And, that's what structure had always been to me my whole life. And then, for the past couple of years, I graduated high school. And so structure just became, the only structure I had in my life was like, oh, okay, I go to work from this hour to this hour. And when that's the only structure you have, all the rest of your time around work, it kind of just falls away. It kind of just disappears, blink of an eye, and so when you build a routine, and I'm not saying like build a routine and stick to it strictly every day all the time, but just kind of build like a loose blueprint of what you want your day to look like, like your perfect day. Write down like what you do before work, what you do after work, test things out, find things that work, things that don't, switch up your routine, build the perfect routine. And then once you have it, just kind of work around it. You don't have to like have it limit or I guess structure is what you want, but you don't want it to limit you. And like, if you want to do something, or like, most people like to go hang out with friends. If you want to go like hang out with friends or go out to eat, or like you have a concert, you don't have to like not do it because of your routine. It's just a general guide for how you want to use your time. And if you do that long enough, eventually it will just become habit. This is something I'm working on right now myself. And that brings us to the very last one, number 10. And number 10 is the same as number 1. Don't think about it. Seriously, I'm dead. That is the most important part of not hating your job in your life, is you can't think about it. You can't think about how there's so much money in the world and yet you have to spend all your time for pennies. You can't think about any of that. You can't think about how long you might have to work, because for all you know, you could die next week. You know what I'm saying? And I don't say that to like scare you or make you anxious or anything. It's just you have to enjoy each day. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to wake up and get ready and ride my bike to work and push carts. I don't want to do any of that, but I do it every day. And most days I do it with a smile on my face because I don't have any other option. And when you don't have any other option, like, most of us feel that way, or we're in a situation where we have to keep going to work, it's better to not be upset about it, Either way, you got to go to work. Wouldn't you rather be in a good mood? And so, some days I wake up real bad mood. You just got to force your day to be good. You have to mold it with your bare hands. Force your day to be good. And if you do that for a couple hours, eventually you'll stop having to force it and you'll just be having a good day. So yeah, that was 10 ways to make your shift not suck. This video went about 5-7 minutes longer than I wanted it to. But, I rambled on a little bit, but I had fun making it. I hope this helped, I hope you find any of these 10 methods useful. If you listen to this video and you're like, oh, that's a bunch of bullshit, work sucks, rah, 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 just understand that you choose to think that way. Everything you think, everything you believe is a choice. And if it serves you, continue to think that way, 100%. If you would rather think that way than a different way, do it. But if you just think that way because you don't have another choice, you do. You always have another choice, and that is to flip your perspective, change it, shift it, find the good in a shitty situation, because that's really all we can do. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. That was 10 ways to make your shift not suck. Yeah, I love you guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you can take some of this and make your job suck just a little less. Yeah, hit a like, comment, all that stuff. Thanks for watching, y'all. I love you. See you in the next one. Peace out, y'all. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay hydrated, my friends. Until next time.